G'day, mates! Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for some more popcorn. Can't believe it's taken me this long to cover these movies. I grew up with these movies. I love these movies as a kid, and I still love them today. And I think they're hugely underrated. They just kind of get skimmed across from the classics of the 80s. But these two fellow film fanatics from a podcast called Spittin' the Real reached out to me a few weeks ago, and I had the pleasure of being a guest on their show. And we ended up becoming cool, and we're all connected now and all that shit. If you guys hadn't heard of them, I'm putting it right down here below me. Check them out. They got a slew of awesome movies to talk about. All I do is just chat it up and really dive deep into some movie topics. They have guests on there, and they do this cool movie bracket thing. But I'm putting the info right down below me right there, so check it out. It's really cool. Like I said, we became buddies because of it. So because we talked about 1 and 2, I don't even think about part 3 being a part of it. I loved these movies growing up, man. I'm telling you, I thought this guy was as cool as Indiana Jones, if not maybe a little cooler. In my opinion, well, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that one. But Crocodile Dundee. Paul Hogan plays Michael J. Dundee, or Mick Dundee. And a lot of people don't realize this. Not only did he star in it, but he wrote and produced them. And Linda Kozlowski plays Sue. They ended up getting married. Man, she was awesome. Super crush on her. And she was a great actress too, but she fit this role perfectly. I love the chemistry between the two of them, and they actually stayed married from 1990 to 2013. It's a pretty good run in Hollywood. But I love how this movie just kicks off with them talking this folklore about this character, this crocodile man. And Kozlowski's character plays a journalist. She wants to go overseas to Australia and interview and find this guy. And in the midst of all that happening, you get this awesome exposition of the character of Dundee, her, what she does, and pretty much what the movie's gonna be about. It doesn't feel rushed, but it's real quick and it just does the job. I love it when they do that in movies and they don't waste time just explaining a bunch of bullshit. Man, that's a tricky thing to do. Spielberg's the master at that. But then immediately when you start hearing the music from the beginning as well, God, it's so cool. And to me, it's timeless music. It's got that Australian vibe to it with the sort of modern vibe. It's done by a guy named Peter Best, and he did 1 and 2. It's heroic, it's moving, it's comforting and mysterious all at the same time. And it really conveys just the whole feeling you're supposed to have when you're watching this movie. The whole mystique of her, right when she gets over there, she's trying to find Dundee and she's talking to all of his buddies like Walt Riley, that guy's awesome. And yeah, when you're meeting all the characters, there's exposition there, of course, but it's so nicely paced that you don't think it's exposition. You like getting to know these characters at this point. And you're seeing it in sort of this party element anyways at a bar when Dundee walks right in there with that crocodile. Everybody's like, oh, oh my God. And then you realize it's a big joke. And that's what's great about his character. He has this super mystique about him, and he plays up anything that everybody makes up about him. So there's a lot of people saying he's poachers, which he's not, but he just sort of runs with the mystique. It's sort of like that scary guy you see in the neighborhood you don't know anything about, and the more and more people talk about him, the more afraid of him you are. That's sort of the way Dundee's character is in the outback in Australia. Within this 10-minute segment of her finally meeting him, they develop this awesome relationship and rapport with each other that just starts sparking and starts going off. They just really work well together on screen, and you buy it. And she's totally different than him. He's this rugged outback type of guy that can pretty much get himself out of any situation, and she's a city girl. So she's the fish out of water in this point of the movie. She doesn't know how to handle herself in this area or this type of territory, and he just knows how to do everything, including communicating with bulls and other animals. Yeah, you remember when you were doing that with your friends? Just... At least I do. We were all doing that, just like we were all doing the crane kick. The reason I kind of said something about him being cooler than Indiana Jones earlier is because that him and Indy share a lot of characteristics to each other, and the dynamics of the film share a lot of characteristics, especially like Temple and Doom in this. He's just handling all these situations that they get themselves into in his territory. He's not freaking out about it, but she is. Just like Temple of Doom. Like the poacher scene when they're camping at night and Croc does the whole fake kangaroo with the gun thing. I don't know why, but as a kid that used to crack me up. Like rolling on the floor laughing. Me and my dad would watch that. We'd just rewind it and rewind it and rewind it. I don't know why, it just made us laugh. And what's great is that poacher and the group of poachers there that you see were the guys that were calling him poachers earlier in the movie. Just a fun little extra tidbit there. It doesn't really have anything to do with the plot. In fact, the whole plot of this movie actually is a love story. It's just about them finding each other. Totally opposite, and then realizing, wow, we really make each other's lives better and we love each other. And the further they go into Australia, into the outback, the more that she learns about him and the more attracted she becomes to him. Like the almighty scene where Kozlowski goes down in the water to get some fresh air and just cool off for a second. Woo! All right, pause for a second. That's got to be the best 80s swimsuit scene ever. Oh my God!
Yeah.
And then after she comes out of there with that sleeveless I Love New York t-shirt, man, Linda. And then he meets up with the Aborigines, and that's what's really cool about the movie. We find out that he's actually an Aborigine himself. He was sort of born into it. And she gets a little peek into him doing their rituals and stuff while she's supposed to be sleeping. And it's so cool when Dundee catches her because he sees her in the woods and he's just like,
Snoogans.
So at this point, we've just been seeing this sort of like kind of awesome display of who Crocodile Dundee is, all these different things happening. And then the second half of the movie is her taking him to New York. And they get Reginald Bell Johnson as a limo driver. Hell yeah, Reginald. Man, I love that guy. Then we get to see Dundee in a truly awkward state. And it's a fish out of water for him now. He doesn't know how to behave. Cars are freaking him out. All the traffic's freaking him out. He's just throwing people's drugs away. I love that cocaine scene. Ruined that guy's whole night. It'd be too much for me to go over all the intricacies of everything that they deal with and everything he comes in contact with because it's just so many funny moments. But what's great about his character and what he brings to the table, all these people that are fast-paced in New York that come in contact with him slowly but surely want to slow down. Unless you're a jerk like her fiance in the movie, but that's all right. He gets his at the dinner table.
I don't know what you call it, but I like to look at that dish up there the big fat shell is eating.
Richard.
And the movie's a really good reminder to make you slow down. To, hey, you know what? Let's take a step back. We go so fast sometimes, and we're also like not collected. Look at this badass over here, Dundee, just chill as can be. Like, who doesn't want to be like that guy if you're a dude? Which, by the way, I gotta say, how tan is Paul Hogan in this movie? But I mean, he's even becoming friends with the cops. Just right off, he's becoming friends with everybody. The movie even takes a better turn, though, once he gets out on his own a little bit. And he's meeting up with those two prostitutes. That's funny. He goes to that bar, which everybody loves him there, and he's telling stories, and they're all listening. And he finds out that one cross-dresser's there, and he grabs the crotch. Classic moment. Hell, he's stopping purse snatchers.
My bag! Stop it!
Knocks out a pimp. And then protects his girl from that one dude that's got that petty knife and, you know, the whole...
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Side note, when they're making out after he saves her from that dude with the knife, man, Mick is copping a feel, ain't he?
Great ass!
You go get him, Mick. Oh yeah, and Reginald throws the boomerang-shaped spoiler off the back of the limo and hits that guy just like Mick did earlier in the movie. Mick's just infectious, man. He's rubbing off on everybody. I love it. Like I said, this is a love story, and it ends with them ultimately falling in love, and they have that awesome scene in the subway, which would never happen, but I love it anyways because it's a movie. They're crawling all on top of people's shoulders. They're passing information down from each other. I love you. He says I love you. It's really endearing by the end of the movie, and it's awesome, and it's a good representation of the human spirit. Plus, you're laughing a little bit, too, because they're all saying I love you. All these macho dudes saying I love you. It's funny.
I love you! I love you! I love you!
This movie's kind of like a chick flick in disguise. It's obviously got a lot more to it than that, but it really is romantic. It's a great couples movie just because dudes love watching Mick just as much as the girls love watching Sue, Linda Kozlowski. I love this movie, and I don't think it gets enough credit. I think most people that remember it love it, but I don't think enough people these days know about the movie. You know, with all this 80s sort of rehashing that's happened over the last few years, I don't see anybody really talking about that one a whole lot. I mean, that would have been pretty cool to see like a Crocodile Dundee reunion on Zoom or something with Josh Gad. I'm sure some of them have passed away at this point. Overall, this is a great movie, and I think it is one that anybody can enjoy no matter what genre of film you like. Well, that's it for Crocodile Dundee Part 1, guys. I got Part 2 coming up next. Click the like button if you enjoy watching the video. Look for BrassReel Brothers on Facebook. Look for Bobby Williams on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, BrassReel Bobby at BrassReel. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And as always, if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorns.